Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenore, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is the horoscope for Sagittarius. If Sagittarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, Sagittarius, this is a bonus reading, and our card tonight is the Seven of Cups, which in the Thoth deck has everything to do with debauchery. That is just wildness, overuse, everything just kind of coming to its peak and then devolving, right? All right, let's go ahead and take a look and see what these tea leaves have to say. And so if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And also, if you want to like the video or leave a comment, please do. Especially if you're new to the channel, shout it out in the comment section there. All right, so immediately I'm seeing we have and it looks like a goat to me. It reminds me of one of Goya's paintings, like I think it's the Witch's Sabbath, possibly, or maybe it's like Black Sabbath, I can't remember. But it is a goat sitting like a little human, right? Hands out, and over here we have a large face. If you want to kind of follow me here, we have the eye, we have a nose and a mouth, and to me it looks like an apparition, right? Something that is almost kind of like a ghost, almost like a hologram, or like a face appearing in the smoke talking to you. I was thinking of now this is going to age me, but yes, I'm a child of I was born in the 80s, but I obviously watched a lot of TV in the 90s, and it reminds me of Power Rangers, that guy in the tube. And so I feel like it's almost a sense of having a visitation, or maybe these are like kind of dreams, visions. Maybe you are partaking in plant medicine, but something, right? There's something where it's not just kind of like I'm having these creative thoughts, or I'm seeing the sign symbols and synchronicities, although that is very powerful in itself. But it is really like clearly having an encounter with something. And it feels spiritual because we also have the goat, right? Which the goat is, often associated with maybe the devil, or the devil archetype. But for me, when I look at the devil card, right, the trump, there is a sense of, I'm trying to think, I derailed myself saying Trump. And I mean the suit, all right, or the court cards, right? That's what I meant, is court cards. Not to be mistaken as anything else. I'm not talking about anything else. We don't talk about those political things here at all. We try to keep it to a minimum in general, even in the household, right? So the devil archetype is one that breaks down old conventions. This is the rebel. This is I take a stand against the old things. This is, I'm not following the dang old rules anymore, right? And so in the spiritual context, it really is kind of exploring the unknown, the mysteries, at your own choice, decision, what path you're going to go down, you know, and so probably not within a rigid religious system. This is, yeah, the kind of rebellious magician, sorcerer, the chaos magician, the you know, Western Hermeticist, the left-handed path, the so on and so on and so on. Now, you don't have to be any of these things, but you have to have that spark of curiosity and the will to explore however your intuition kind of pulls you. Okay, not abiding the dogma or the tenets or whatever. No, at least not necessarily, right? You are interpreting your spiritual life as you will. You do not need an in-between. You don't need a conduit. You don't need somebody to tell you what it is that is happening, right? Or how it should happen, or what it should be, or you know, whatever. So, yeah, it makes sense to me that you would be having these very direct experiences because you have a relationship with the divine that is not confined to a certain way of thinking. Your perspective is fluid and shifting and alive. And so I see you having these, revelations, spiritual downloads, whatever it is. And this will be powerful. Now, we also have the cat over here, which just indicates to me on an even deeper level that you are quite independent. You are somebody who is not afraid to kind of strike out on your own. And whenever somebody tries to tell you what it is, this is how we think, this is how we act, this is how we behave, do you abide? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe a little bit. Maybe enough, right? Just enough. But no, you are very much your own person. You go where you want to. You do what you want to. And, you know, and as I'm saying that, you know, there might be this kind of idea that for somebody to be completely themselves and do as they please, that they might be callous or self-involved or even cruel, right? But that's not always the case. That's not, I would say the majority of people, the most of us, right? We want to get along with others. We want to honor our neighbors and our families and have a life that is, you know, stable and consistent and feels meaningful. And, you know, and all of that can be done by somebody who goes their own way, who does their own thing, who does not always, you know, behave conventionally. And it doesn't have to hurt anybody's feelings while they're doing it, right? So, you know, that's just to say, I don't think that you're necessarily out here arguing or in conflict with anybody. But you are your own person. Okay, very much through and through. Now, I keep seeing up here R-E-D. So the red, something about red. It almost looks also like Fred, F-R-E-D. So it could be Fred, but the first thing I did see was red. Okay. Now we have a person here who is holding, they have their hand out, and it looks like a goat again. Okay, now this goat looks to be singing. And up here, we have a bird flying overhead. We also have a person who has their arms raised towards. And I I just feel deeply that you must be some kind of, I don't know, seer, medicine person, somebody who walks between, maybe within the borderlands, which makes sense because of that first, we were talking about this real kind of interaction with something that is not human, right? This is something divine. And it makes sense that you would be somebody who is something like a shaman, right? Whatever you want to call yourself, or not, maybe no labels, right? But there is, you walk in between. You have access to that other place. You maybe have had, I wonder if you've had a really serious sickness. Now, I don't know if it's something that is ongoing, but it feels like likely it was something acute, right? Like you got very ill, maybe when you were younger. Maybe you were hospitalized for a period of time. You had high fevers. You maybe, they worried, that you would not return to health. That maybe your cognitive abilities would be altered, or, something. There would be a lasting effect, right? And I would akin this to something like a near-death experience, okay? And I think that this is it. This is part of why. Now, it's not the only reason, because I feel that you already had the qualities of a mystical being. But I feel like this ailment, this experience that you had, it's like you know the way, right? You know the way to that in-between place. You are somebody who dwells in kind of, one foot in reality and one foot in the mystic, right? Into the mystic, as Van Morrison would say, right? And so you are a seer, you are a magician of sorts, you are a collector of sacred knowledge, and somebody who not only has the knowledge, but you have a functional understanding. So you have a wisdom. You have messages to bring. And I believe that you maybe even have followers, or at least one person in your life who it's like there's a relation, heart to heart. This is somebody who maybe you study together. It's like your magical partner, a fellow practitioner, maybe a devotee. You might be somebody who reads, like myself. You are a diviner, you scry, you maybe channel or do mediumship or all of the things. But you have a connection to people and they're drawn to you because you have these special gifts, and you are somebody, if you can think of the old structures of having a very tribal society as being, filled with everybody having different roles and very close yet dynamic relationships, because these are people that you know all of their families. They know all of your family. They might be family. You live together closely and in partnership to, benefit the greater collective. And so there's a closeness, right? But I think, to be a seer, to be, somebody who is a healer or has this connection with the divine, you often become an outsider, maybe kind of a recluse or eccentric, or You know, it's just you've chosen to kind of live on the fringe of society. And people do, they come to you to seek guidance, to have the healing, to you know, whatever it is. I mean, whatever the work is, there's a lot of different things that you might be doing, or maybe, you know, this isn't a formal thing for you, but you've always had the ability to prophesize or bring messages to people. You encounter entities around people, their ancestors, their elders, their guardians, their spirit guides, and you are somebody who is open enough that you will say, hey, guess what? I have a message for you. So, you know, ultimately, I think that this is a profound quality that you have within your life. And you know, I think that it is something that only gets stronger as you get older. As, you know, as we do age, I think a lot of the unnecessary things that do not serve us well, we become more acutely aware of those. You know, hopefully we don't spend our time with things that are unimportant. We start to shed a lot of that stuff, and then we get to the core of what really is important. How do we spend our time? Because our time is most sacred, right? We only have so much of it. We don't get a lot of it back, right? Or if any. And so, you know, I think this is like you become very, very focused on developing your abilities and how you use them. Okay. Now we also have the goat here. So I know that there is a strength. This is like your superpower, right? This is your calling. And yeah. And if anybody understands that, it does not matter to you. Your family might think it's wild. Excuse me. Your family might think it's wild. I gotta get a drink here. But it is something that is meaningful for you, and therefore it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks, right? And so let's also go over here and we're going to take a look. And so we have two people, and I keep feeling like this really is, there's some kind of connection here. Now, it could be that this is a sibling or a good friend or just somebody that you've met recently, but my gosh, there's this eye to eye, heart to heart. And it feels like this is within the work. And this maybe will be the first time that you really have this spiritual connection with somebody who is actively doing their own work within the divine, right? They are also a practitioner of some kind. They also probably have abilities. Maybe they are similar to yours and maybe they're not. But I do feel that this is going to be such a beneficial connection for you. And ultimately, I think you derive a lot of confidence from really feeling like it's a confirmation that you are on the right path, that somebody like this would be brought into your life. Okay, now let's go ahead. We're going to do our self-care affirmation cards. And I'm just going to flip through. We'll stop where it feels right. And it says, a worthy heart. I have a voice. My needs are valuable. I express what I think and feel. I allow others to care for me. My heart is worthy of care and attention. My heart is worthy of care and attention. Absolutely. All right. I was going to say Scorpio, but I stopped myself. I just did a Scorpio reading right before this. All right, Sagittarius, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you because I do, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And what else? Oh, if you want to leave a comment, please do. Especially if you're new to the channel, shout it out in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Yeah, that's it. All right. Good night. I love you. Take care.